Every trader begins the same way, not with millions, not with experience, not with mastery, but with uncertainty in a small account that reflects both hope and fear. Most beginners look at their small account as a limitation. They see it as proof that they're not ready, not strong enough, not capable of competing against the so-called big players. But the truth is that small account is your greatest teacher. It's not your weakness. It's your training ground. The size of your account doesn't determine your success. The size of your discipline does. The size of your patience does. And the size of your belief in the process does. A small trading account forces you to think differently, to protect every dollar like it's your last, and to let go of the illusion that you can outsmart the market with quick profits. Growth in trading never starts with money. It starts with mindset. This speech is not about tips or tricks. It's about rewiring how you think about the market, how you see yourself as a trader, and how you respond when the market tests your patience. Because it will test you. Every trader, whether starting with $100 or $100,000, faces the same battlefield: the market. The market doesn't discriminate based on how much money you bring to the table. It doesn't care about your background, your education, your experience, or your dreams. It doesn't reward who's loudest, boldest, or most desperate for success. The market has one loyalty: consistency. And that truth is what separates the survivors from the casualties. When people first step into trading, they bring with them a fantasy, the belief that success comes from size. They think, if only I had a bigger account, I could make more money. They believe that the obstacle standing between them and success is capital. But that's not true. The real obstacle is the mind that controls that capital. A large account in the hands of an inconsistent trader is just fuel for a faster disaster. But a small account in the hands of a consistent trader is a seed, one that, with time and care, grows into something powerful. Consistency is not glamorous. It doesn't feel exciting or heroic. It doesn't give you the rush of a massive win or the dopamine hit of being right about a trade. It's repetitive discipline, sometimes even boring. But it's that very repetition that builds power. Because trading isn't about excitement, it's about control. It's about building a framework of behaviors that you execute flawlessly, regardless of what the market does. That's what consistency really means. Not winning all the time, but behaving the same way every time. Most traders think consistency means consistent profits, but true consistency means consistent process. It's the ability to execute your edge without hesitation, without emotion, without deviation. It's the ability to stick to your stop loss, to take profits according to your plan, to walk away when there's no setup, and to stay patient when you're uncertain. That's what the market rewards, not the size of your account, but the steadiness of your decisions. Think about it. The market is made up of millions of participants. Institutions, professionals, algorithms, and retail traders, all acting based on their own beliefs, fears, and biases. Amid all this chaos, the only thing you truly control is yourself. You can't control where the next candle closes, but you can control how you respond to it. You can't control the outcome of a trade, but you can control whether you followed your rules. The trader who wins is not the one who predicts the market, but the one who masters their own behavior within it. Every trade you take either reinforces discipline or destroys it. That's why consistency is so powerful. It builds emotional stability over time. When you behave the same way under pressure, your emotions lose their control over you. You no longer trade out of fear, greed, or revenge. You trade out of structure. You stop reacting, and you start responding. That's what professional traders do. They don't get shaken by a losing streak, and they don't get euphoric over a winning one. They remain centered. If you watch a professional trader manage a small account, you'll notice something remarkable. They treat it no differently than a large one. Every trade is planned, every risk is calculated, every move has purpose. They don't get attached to outcomes, they get attached to their process. That's why they grow, and that's why beginners struggle. A beginner with a small account often tries to force it to grow, over-leveraging, over-trading, chasing every move. But that behavior destroys consistency. It replaces discipline with desperation, and the market punishes desperation every single time. The irony is that when you stop trying to make money, you start making money. When your goal shifts from profit to execution, your entire perspective changes. You begin to see each trade not as a chance to win or lose, but as an opportunity to practice consistency. You understand that your job isn't to predict what the market will do next, but to execute your edge whenever your criteria are met. and to step aside when they're not. You stop fighting the market and start aligning with it. Trading is a business of probabilities. Even the best traders in the world lose trades regularly, but they understand something crucial: consistency over time smooths out randomness. In the short term, anything can happen. A trade can win or lose. But in the long term, if you follow your edge consistently, probability begins to favor you. Your wins and losses start forming a predictable pattern. You can trust your system because you've proven it through repetition. But that trust only comes when you stop improvising. Every time you change your method out of fear or frustration, you reset your learning curve. Consistency is what allows experience to turn into mastery. This is why emotional control is everything. The moment you let emotions dictate your trading decisions, consistency disappears. You might make a few impulsive wins, but they'll only strengthen bad habits. Then when the market shifts, those habits destroy you. The market doesn't care if you win once, it cares how you behave after you win. Most traders lose not because they don't know what to do, but because they can't do what they know consistently. Imagine two traders. Trader A has $10,000. Trader B has $1,000. Trader A risks 5% per trade, breaks their rules when they lose, doubles down when angry, and pulls profits too soon when scared. Trader B risks 1% per trade, follows their plan no matter what, and journals every outcome. 6 months later, Trader A might be out of the game, while Trader B has doubled their account, not because of better strategy, but because of consistent behavior. The lesson: the market rewards who you are, not what you have. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. You will make mistakes. You will have losing streaks. You will feel fear and doubt. But the consistent trader uses those moments as feedback, not failure. They review, reflect, and recalibrate. They don't take losses personally because they understand that losses are data, not drama. Every losing trade teaches them how to refine their execution. And that's how small accounts grow, not through one lucky trade, but through thousands of consistent ones. Inconsistency, on the other hand, is death by 1,000 cuts. Every time you skip your stop, loss, chase a trade, or ignore your rules, you're teaching your mind that discipline doesn't matter. Soon, your emotions take over. You start trading based on hope and fear instead of logic and structure. And once that happens, the market will take everything from you. You see, the market is a mirror. It reflects your internal state back at you. If you're disciplined, patient, and focused, your results will eventually align with that energy. If you're scattered, fearful, and impulsive, your results will mirror that too. The external outcome always follows the internal state. Consistency in behavior creates consistency in results, just not always immediately. That's the hardest lesson for beginners. You don't get rewarded right away. You must act consistently before you're rewarded for it. Think of it like planting seeds. You can't plant a seed today and expect fruit tomorrow. You must water it, protect it, and let time do its part. Consistency is that watering process. You might not see growth every day, but beneath the surface, your roots are strengthening. Each disciplined trade, each journal entry, each rule followed. That's how your account builds invisible strength. And when the season changes, that strength becomes visible in your equity curve. One of the biggest mental shifts a trader must make is realizing that consistency is a choice. You don't need motivation to be consistent. You need commitment. Motivation fades when you lose. Commitment doesn't. Commitment says, I'll follow my process even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when I don't see results yet. That's the mindset that transforms small accounts into large ones. Consistency also builds confidence. Not the kind of confidence that comes from winning, but the kind that comes from knowing you can trust yourself. When you prove, trade after trade, that you will act according to your plan, no matter what, your self-trust becomes unshakable. You no longer need to rely on predictions or outside validation. You stop chasing confirmation and start creating clarity. That's when trading becomes peaceful, even in chaos. Over time, consistency compounds just like capital. Each disciplined action reinforces the next. You build habits that protect your emotions and structure your decisions. And then something magical happens. Trading stops feeling like a gamble. It becomes a profession. You stop looking for shortcuts and start appreciating the grind. You understand that every small gain, every lesson learned, every rule followed, they're all steps toward mastery. When you truly embrace consistency, you stop comparing yourself to others. You no longer care how much someone else made or how fast their account grew. You measure success differently, not by profit, but by progress. Did you follow your plan today? Did you stay patient? Did you manage your risk? If yes, you've already won. Because the traders who stay consistent through uncertainty are the ones who survive long enough to thrive. The market rewards consistency because consistency is truth. It's proof that you understand the game you're playing. It's proof that you're not here to chase illusions or escape emotion. You're here to master yourself. And that mastery is the ultimate trading edge. So if you're starting small, remember this: your account size doesn't matter. What matters is how you treat that account. Treat it with respect, discipline, and patience. Every dollar is a reflection of your mindset. Trade it like a professional now, and the profits will come later. Trade it like a gambler, and the market will humble you fast. The market doesn't care about your potential. It responds to your consistency. The more consistent you are in thought, action, and execution, the more predictable your results become. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's the law of probability finally working in your favor. And when that happens, you'll realize that success in trading was never about size. It was always about discipline. Perform consistently, without exception, without emotion, and without excuse. The market is a mirror of your mindset. It doesn't reward what you want. It rewards what you do consistently. Most traders enter the market driven by one thought: I want to make money. But that single thought, while seemingly logical, is the very seed of failure. Because when your focus is on profit, your behavior becomes reactive, emotional, and inconsistent. When your focus is on process, your behavior becomes structured, objective, and sustainable. The difference between a struggling trader and a growing one isn't strategy, it's focus. Growth doesn't come from chasing profits, it comes from perfecting process. The market punishes those who crave outcomes but rewards those who respect process. It's ironic. The more you chase money, the further it runs. But when you detach from the need to make money and focus on mastering the method that creates money, profits begin to flow naturally. Why? Because process builds consistency, and consistency builds probability. You can't control how much the market gives, but you can control how you show up each day. That's the foundation of growth. When you obsess over profit, you begin to violate your own rules. You risk too much, cut winners too soon, let losers run too long, and trade setups that don't meet your criteria, all because your mind is addicted to the outcome. Profit-focused traders are slaves to short-term emotion. They ride the emotional roller coaster of excitement when they win and despair when they lose. They are constantly chasing the next big trade to feel in control again. But the truth is, the moment you trade from emotion, you lose control entirely. Process-focused traders see the game differently. They understand that every trade is just a data point, a test of discipline, a repetition of structure. They measure success not by whether they made or lost money today, but by whether they executed their plan flawlessly. This approach might sound rigid, but it's the path to freedom. Because when you commit to process, you free yourself from the endless anxiety of trying to predict what the market will do. Instead, you operate from clarity. If A happens, I do B. If it doesn't, I do nothing. There's no guessing, only execution. Think of trading like being a pilot. Would you want a pilot who flies by emotion, accelerating when nervous, braking when scared, turning randomly because it feels right? Of course not. You'd want a pilot who follows a checklist, who trusts the instruments, who understands that safety and success come from process, not emotion. The market works the same way. The traders who last are those who treat it with professional discipline, not emotional gambling. When you focus on profit, you tend to see the market as a battlefield between you and the price. Every move feels personal. Every loss feels like failure. Every gain feels like validation. This emotional attachment to the outcome blinds you to the truth that the market doesn't care about you. It's not out to hurt you, and it's not there to reward you. It's neutral. The only variable in the equation is you. And that's where process steps in. Process removes you from the equation. It creates a system where emotion doesn't make decisions. Structure does. Process means having a plan for every scenario before it happens. You know your entry conditions, your stop loss, your profit targets, and your risk per trade. You know what setups you trade and which ones you ignore. You know when to step aside. You journal every decision, review every trade, and extract lessons from every mistake. That's process. It's not glamorous, but it's the foundation of growth. When traders chase profit, they measure success by the size of their wins. When traders follow process, they measure success by the quality of their decisions. One mindset creates short-term highs and long-term failure. The other creates steady, compounding growth. Because the truth is, the more attached you are to making money, the less likely you are to make it. The less attached you are, the more you grow. That's the paradox of trading. Detachment breeds success. The process: first, trader understands that growth isn't linear. They accept that losing trades are part of the data stream that validates their edge. They don't see a loss as something to avoid, but as something to study. Every losing trade offers feedback about execution, psychology, and environment. When you value process, every outcome, win or lose, becomes useful. There are no failures, only feedback loops. And the more you learn from them, the more refined your process becomes. Profit-focused traders, on the other hand, fear losing. They resist the very data that would help them grow. When they lose, they question their method. They jump from strategy to strategy, indicator to indicator, system to system, always seeking the magic formula that will eliminate pain. But no system can protect a trader from themselves. Process is what transforms pain into progress. Without it, every loss feels like a wound instead of a lesson. To build process, you must think like a scientist, not a gambler. Scientists test hypotheses, record results, and refine their experiments based on evidence. They don't expect every experiment to succeed. They understand that each test is a step toward understanding. Traders must think the same way. Every trade is an experiment within a defined system. The more you test your process, the more you understand its strengths, weaknesses, and probabilities. Over time, you stop reacting to the outcome because you've gathered enough data to trust the method. That trust becomes your edge. Growth happens when you repeat high-quality actions over time, regardless of short-term results. That's the hardest truth for beginners to accept. Everyone wants fast success. Everyone wants to turn a small account into a big one overnight. But trading doesn't work that way. It's not about speed, it's about precision. Process builds precision, and precision compounds into growth. Let's be honest. Focusing on process requires patience, and patience is rare. Most traders can't handle boredom. They crave constant action, thinking more trades mean more opportunities. But the best traders know the opposite is true. Growth comes from restraint, from waiting for the perfect setup, from executing the same routine again and again without deviation. Process is boring, but it's the boredom that creates breakthroughs. Profit is seductive. It pulls you in with promises of freedom and excitement. It makes you believe that more money will solve all your problems. But the truth is, if you can't master your process with a small amount, you'll only magnify your mistakes with a larger one. Process is the discipline that keeps you grounded when emotions rise. It's the framework that stops you from sabotaging yourself when the market tempts you to deviate. The most successful traders in the world are process-obsessed. They journal every trade, not just to analyze setups, but to track their mental and emotional states. They study their behavior like scientists observing themselves. They understand that trading isn't just about technical patterns. It's about the psychological patterns they repeat. They know that if they can master the process, profit will take care of itself. You see, the market is designed to punish inconsistency. It feeds on emotional decisions and rewards structured patience. Every time you follow your plan, you're casting a vote for the trader you want to become. Every time you break your rules, you're casting a vote for chaos. Growth is nothing more than the accumulation of disciplined decisions. It's not about how often you win, but how often you follow your process without compromise. Process builds identity. Each time you honor your plan, you reinforce the belief that you are a disciplined trader, and your identity over time drives your behavior. When your identity aligns with your process, growth becomes natural. You no longer have to try to be disciplined, you simply are. That's the invisible shift that separates amateurs from professionals. Amateurs chase profits to prove something. Professionals follow process because they've nothing left to prove. If you zoom out, you'll realize something profound: trading success mirrors life success. In life, just like in the market, those who chase quick rewards often end up with regret. Those who commit to process, who focus on learning, patience, and daily consistency, create lasting growth. The same principle applies to relationships, business, health, and personal mastery. Process is the invisible bridge between intention and result. When you commit to process, your relationship with time changes. You stop needing results now. You understand that time is your ally, not your enemy. Each day of disciplined execution becomes an investment in future mastery. You learn to think in probabilities, not emotions. You stop asking, "Did I win today?" and start asking, "Did I trade well today?" That single question transforms how you experience the market. And eventually, something incredible happens. Profit stops being the goal and becomes the byproduct. You start to see your account grow, not because you forced it to, but because your process made it inevitable. Your discipline compounds just like your capital. You realize that trading was never about chasing money. It was about becoming the kind of person who deserves it. Growth through process also teaches humility. It reminds you that no one ever beats the market. The market allows you to profit when you respect its nature and align your behavior with its reality. Process is that alignment. It keeps you grounded when others are greedy and patient when others are panicking. It turns uncertainty into opportunity and chaos into structure. To grow as a trader, you must surrender your obsession with outcomes. You must accept that your only real job is to execute your process flawlessly. The rest is out of your hands. The more you control what you can control, the more you align with probability. And in a game of probabilities, that's all that matters. In the end, trading mastery is not about what you know, but about what you can do consistently under pressure. The mind that obsesses over profit lives in the future. The mind that focuses on process stays in the present. Growth only happens in the present, in the discipline of now. So, when you sit down at your charts tomorrow, forget about the money. Forget about the wins and losses. Focus only on the process. Your rules, your risk, your behavior. Master that, and the market will eventually reflect it in your results. Because the market has always rewarded one thing above all else, not emotion, not luck, not prediction, but process. Every trader wants to grow fast. Every beginner wants to turn a small account into a big one overnight. It's natural. The desire to accelerate success to prove that we can win at this game. But in the market, the faster you try to go, the faster you lose control. The more you chase speed, the more you destroy stability. And the painful truth is this: no matter how clever your strategy is, no matter how advanced your indicators are, no matter how lucky you think you might get, impatience is the most expensive emotion in trading. Patience is not weakness. It's not passivity. It's not doing nothing. Patience is controlled power, the ability to wait for your edge, to protect your capital, and to allow time to compound your discipline. Most traders think risk grows accounts faster, but it doesn't. Risk, when used recklessly, destroys accounts. Patience multiplies them. It doesn't give you excitement, it gives you endurance. And endurance is what builds long-term wealth. A small account, by its nature, forces you to face your impulses. It exposes every emotional weakness you have: fear, greed, doubt, and the desperate need to make things happen quickly. You see traders on social media turning small accounts into thousands in days, and you think, why not me? So you start increasing your lot size. You start breaking your rules. You start chasing every setup that looks like it might work. And at first, it feels thrilling. You make some fast wins, your confidence spikes. But the market always collects its payment. Because what you built on impatience, the market destroys through volatility. Growth in trading doesn't come from what you make. It comes from what you keep. You don't grow by taking more trades. You grow by taking better ones. You don't grow by taking more risk. You grow by managing risk through patience. Every professional trader understands this. They know that trading is not a game of speed, it's a game of timing. They wait, they observe, they sit through the noise and wait for alignment, the perfect confluence of setup, structure, and psychology. The beginner chases opportunities. The professional waits for them. Patience is what separates gambling from mastery. The gambler can't sit still. The gambler believes every candle matters, every pullback is a chance, every signal is urgent. But the patient trader knows that most of the market's movements are meaningless noise. Out of hundreds of possible trades in a week, only a handful align perfectly with your edge. Those are the ones worth waiting for. Those are the ones that grow accounts consistently. When you rush, you enter trades based on emotion. Fear of missing out, greed for fast profits, frustration after a loss. You don't realize it, but every impulsive trade is a small leak in your account, and over time, those leaks sink you. Impulsive trading doesn't just drain your balance, it drains your confidence. It trains your mind to react instead of respond. You start needing constant action, constant feedback, constant validation from the market. That addiction is deadly. It keeps you in a loop of anxiety and regret. Patience breaks that loop. Patience gives you space between thought and action. It allows logic to return. It teaches you to observe your emotions without obeying them. When you develop patience, you stop needing to be right immediately. You understand that trading is not about the next trade. It's about the next 1,000 trades. One trade means nothing in the bigger picture, but impatience makes you treat every trade like life or death. The traders who grow small accounts are not those who take big risks. They're the ones who sit through dry periods without forcing trades. They protect their capital while others destroy theirs chasing excitement. They let the law of large numbers work in their favor, one small, well-executed trade at a time. They understand that consistency compounds and that compounding takes time. Patience is the bridge between discipline and growth. When you learn to wait, something incredible happens. You stop feeling like you're missing out. You realize that opportunities in the market are infinite. There's no need to force a trade today when another will appear tomorrow. The impatient trader lives in scarcity, believing every missed setup is a lost chance. The patient trader lives in abundance, knowing every missed setup is just one less mistake made. That mindset shift alone can transform your trading career. Let's be honest, patience is uncomfortable. It goes against human nature. Our brains are wired for immediacy. We crave instant results, immediate gratification, and quick proof of progress. But trading is the opposite. The best trades often require waiting for days or even weeks for the setup to mature. The best entries appear when everyone else is bored or distracted. Patience forces you to sit in that discomfort, to watch the market move without you, and to trust that your turn will come. And that's where most traders fail, not in knowledge, but in endurance. They can't stand waiting. They can't stand watching the market move without them. So they jump in too early, they exit too soon, they overtrade and overthink. They confuse motion with progress. But the truth is, real progress often happens in stillness. The patience to do nothing is just as important as the discipline to act. A small account magnifies the consequences of impatience. Every mistake costs you proportionally more. When you take unnecessary risks, you don't just lose money, you lose time. You push yourself further away from the compounding effect that patience would have created. The only way to accelerate growth in a small account is through patience. Patience to protect, patience to wait, and patience to compound. Imagine two traders with 1,000. Trader A risks 100 per trade, trades 5 times a day, chasing every move. Trader B risks 20 per trade, takes only the setups that meet their criteria and sits out when the market isn't clear. After a month, Trader A might have doubled their account or blown it completely. Trader B might have grown slowly, 10%, 15%, but consistently. After 6 months, Trader B is still trading, still compounding, still learning. Trader A is either broke or emotionally destroyed. Which one do you think makes it to year 5? Patience is a multiplier not because it increases your profits directly, but because it preserves your ability to stay in the game. Every dollar saved through patience becomes a seed for future growth. Every impulsive decision avoided strengthens your edge. Over time, this stability compounds in ways that risk never can. Patience also builds something far more valuable than profit, confidence. Not the kind of false confidence that comes from a lucky win, but the deep confidence that comes from knowing you can trust yourself. When you've proven that you can wait, that you can follow your rules even when it's hard, you build unshakable trust in your own discipline. And that trust translates into power. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop needing external validation. You trade from peace, not pressure. It's tempting to believe that taking on more risk will accelerate your results. But risk doesn't multiply, it amplifies. It amplifies both your strengths and your weaknesses. If you haven't mastered patience, higher risk just magnifies your emotional mistakes. That's why most traders who go all in end up all out. They never gave patience a chance to work its quiet magic. Patience also teaches humility. It reminds you that you're not in control of the market, only of your behavior. You can't force outcomes, you can only prepare for them. Waiting teaches you surrender. It teaches you to accept that you don't know what the next candle will do, and that's okay. You don't need to know. You just need to be ready when your setup appears. The market doesn't reward impatience, it rewards preparation, and preparation is the child of patience. Over time, patience reshapes how you experience trading. You stop seeing it as a race and start seeing it as a rhythm. You move with the market, not against it. You understand that time is your greatest ally, not something to fight, but something to work with. The more patient you become, the more clearly you see the market's patterns. The noise quiets. The impulses fade. You start to see structure where others see chaos. That's when you know you're evolving from a trader into a professional. Every great trader you admire, every name you've ever studied, has one thing in common: they mastered the art of waiting. They didn't build empires through massive leverage or reckless speed. They built them through discipline and time. They knew that slow growth built on patience is infinitely more powerful than fast gains built on luck. Because patience compounds, but luck expires. You might think patience is costing you opportunities, but in truth, it's saving you from destruction. Every trade you don't take out of boredom or fear is a victory. Every moment you wait for your setup while others jump in blindly is progress. Every day you choose discipline over impulse, you're building invisible momentum. It might not show up in your balance right away, but it's shaping your future performance. Patience also helps you align with the natural rhythm of compounding. Compounding is slow at first, painfully slow. But over time, the curve accelerates. The trader who is patient enough to survive the early stages reaps exponential rewards later. That's why patience multiplies accounts faster than risk ever will. Risk gives you speed without foundation. Patience gives you foundation without fear. Trading is a test of character disguised as a financial endeavor. The market doesn't just test your strategy, it tests your ability to wait, to believe, to remain calm when everything inside you screams to act. Every moment of waiting refines you. Every temptation resisted strengthens your emotional muscle. The traders who grow their small accounts are not the fastest or the smartest. They're the ones who simply refuse to rush. So if you're sitting with a small account and it feels like nothing is moving fast enough, remind yourself, you're not falling behind. You're building depth. Every day you stay patient, you're compounding experience, resilience, and self-control. That's worth more than any short-term gain, because when the market finally aligns with your edge, you'll be ready, calm, prepared, and unshaken. And when you act from that place, not from urgency, not from fear, but from patience, you'll notice something profound. Your small account starts to grow, slowly at first, then steadily, then exponentially. Because patience multiplies silently, invisibly, and inevitably. It doesn't shout like risk does, but its results speak forever louder. In trading, speed fades, excitement fades, even profits fade if you can't protect them. But patience endures. It's the invisible force behind every consistent trader, the quiet discipline behind every strong account, and the ultimate edge in a game where time always wins. Patience doesn't just grow your account, it grows you. And that growth is the only kind that truly lasts. A small trading account is not your limitation, it's your proving ground. Every disciplined trade, every moment of patience, every rule you choose to honor builds the foundation for long-term success. Growth in trading is never about taking bigger risks, it's about mastering smaller ones with consistency. When you value process over profit and patience over impulse, your results begin to compound quietly, powerfully, and inevitably. The market doesn't reward the biggest account, it rewards the most disciplined mind. Stay patient, stay consistent, and your small account will grow into something far greater than money. True mastery.